Hi, this is Scott with the Food, Faith, and Friends Campbell Dinner Church. I'm glad that you decided to click on the stories link today. And I'm actually in my minivan. I'm not driving, but I am out of town, and sometimes it's just hard to find the best place for, somewhere quiet to do something like this. The story I wanted to talk about today about Jesus is a time when he was traveling between cities. And there were a lot of times that he was traveling between cities because he was going from place to place to teach people about God's plans. And more people had heard about him at this point, about his teaching and about even some miracles that he had been doing along the way. But during this particular journey, a man ran up to Jesus. He had been traveling for a couple days coming to find him because he was concerned and he needed help. And this was a man, he had a lot of resources available to him. He actually worked for the king, so he had a lot of different things at his disposal as far as resources. But none of them seemed to be able to provide the help that he needed, the comfort for his concern or the fear that he had. He came up to Jesus, and this royal official begged Jesus to come home with him because he said, "My son is there and he's dying." Jesus simply said, "Go back to your home. Return home to your son. He will live. He's fine." One of my sons was born with a heart condition that, when it was properly diagnosed early on, we were told, my wife and I, we were told that he would have to have an operation by the time he was about 6 weeks old. And I can remember seeing the doctors as they were consulting with each other, outside the door or down the hall, and just the concerned looks on their faces as they were discussing the treatment of our son. And the day finally arrived. I mean, it was a short period of time, but it seemed like a long time for the procedure, the operation to be performed with our son. And the doctor who was going to be doing the operation, he pulled my wife, Kimberly, and I aside, and we sat in his office, and he explained to us what the procedure was he would be doing in our son's heart. And he also told us that the condition of our son's heart was one that could cause it to overwork, and for no symptoms, no reason, the overworking could cause it to just stop. And there was nothing to do to prevent it, to have any sort of warning or anything at all. And he told us that the medical team had decided to not tell us that because the best that we could do, the only thing we could do while waiting for the operation, was to love and care for our son in the best ways possible, any way possible. And the mixture of relief that he had made it to the operation and the disbelief that really he was on the verge of his heart stopping at any point while he'd been home with us for the past few weeks was overwhelming. The procedure was completely successful. Our son will need another procedure similar when he's an adult. But the emotions that are felt during that time, and I can tell you that there's no time in my life that I've felt more helpless than sitting in the waiting room at a children's hospital. And I'm sure that the royal official felt that same mixture of despair and hope as he walked away from Jesus to return home, with the word from Jesus that, "Go home, your son will be healed," and your son is healed. And the despair that Jesus didn't go with him, that just the unknowing. But as he was traveling home, which is about a couple-day journey, the members of his household came and met him and told him that his son was fine, his son was alive, and his son was in good health. And so that hope and the despair both turn to joy. And I know also that not all stories have happy endings, but I'm very thankful for the doctors who treated our son and for Jesus who answered the prayers that we prayed for our son. And here, our community that's forming here with Food, Faith, and Friends, please let us know if there are ways that we can be praying for you. And if you want to find out more about Jesus, please use the contact information on our website to get in touch with us. And whether it's by email or by phone, and we would love to talk to you about Jesus.